stone soup for smuggling?
I don't know. I'll have to look that up. Okay, behind me, you see a chart. On the chart, up at the top, we see the words winter, spring, summer, and fall. What are all of those words? What do they mean? It's telling me the what? Are we?
The seasons?
The seasons, the 4 seasons, and it's telling me them in order.
My mic was already on mute when you called me.
Oh. So,
This kind of looks like the Native American party day.
it does, very similar. So it asks us what months are in the winter season. Do you remember? I have them written up here. Who can tell me what months are in the winter season? Ryan.
February,
Yep.
January, October, December.
Yep. In order, they're December, January, and February. What is the temperature like on a thermometer in winter? What's the temperature like on a thermometer in winter? Adeline?
Cold.
It's cold. See how the liquid in my thermometer has gone down? That means it's cold in winter. Very good. Clothing people wear. If you pin me, you might can see this. We have a scarf, earmuffs, a jacket, boots, socks, and mittens. A lot of times people need to dress in layers in the winter. Layers of clothes to keep warm. When we're inside our house and we have our heat on, do we need all those things? No. But if you were to step outside, like right now, you would be super chilly and you'd run back inside to get your extra layers of clothing. And then holidays or special activities that happen in the winter season. Here I have a Christmas tree for Christmas, but there's other holidays as well. Who can share some? Let's see. Carolyn, tell me one.
How about Valentine's Day?
Yeah, that's a holiday in February, which is in a winter month.
And like.
Well, let me call on another friend so they can share.
Okay.
Anya, sorry. Anya, then Estelle.
Estelle can go first if you want.
Okay, Estelle, what holiday happens in winter? Another holiday other than Valentine's Day and Christmas?
Hanukkah?
Hanukkah, very good. Russell? Kwanzaa, very good. Adeline?
Did you say what happens in snow?
Well, what's a holiday that happens in the winter?
Can Halloween count?
No, that's the fall. What about New Year? New Year. There's the Chinese New Year and our New Year. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say.
Yeah. Let's take a look. Today, we're going to talk about spring. Spring. So behind me, you see all of we see all of the months of the year. There's 12 months in a year. We said in the winter there's December, January, and February. Who thinks they know the spring months? Raise your hand. Nicole?
Spring month is December.
No. March, April, and May are months in the spring. So next month, meet your microphone. Next month, we'll begin a new month and a new season. But spring doesn't happen till the end of March. But March, April, and May are the spring season months. In our story today, I want to talk to you about some vocabulary words. The first vocabulary word I want to talk to you about is the word melt. What's happening in my picture? How does this describe the word melt? Landon?
Like a snowman's melting.
Melting. That means you've gone from a solid to a liquid. You're melting away. Very good. The next word we're going to talk about is this word, blossom. Look at the picture. We've talked about the word blossom before when we learned about plants. Does anyone remember what blossom means?
Okay.
Hold on, Anya. You've got to raise your hand, honey. What does blossom mean? Russell?
Flower.
Yes, blossoms are flowers that bloom on trees before they grow their leaves. This is the Washington Monument, which is a memorial for President George Washington in Washington, D.C. And these trees are called cherry blossoms. They're cherry trees and they have pink and white blossoms that bloom. It's very beautiful. Today, you're going to hear another letter from your pen pal, Annie. And the main topic or main idea of Annie's letter is spring. Your job is to listen carefully for the type of weather that is characteristic of spring and for things that happen in spring. Okay. Dear kindergartners, in my last letter, I told you all about winter. In today's letter, I'm going to tell you about the next season in the cycle of seasons. Do you know what season that is? That's right. The next season is spring. Spring doesn't arrive all of a sudden. Spring arrives gradually. Spring comes slowly, a little bit at the time. Spring begins in the middle of March, and it continues through the months of April and May. Can you tell by looking at today's date on the calendar? Is it spring now? February 10th? No. February 10th is still what season? Winter. During spring, the days are longer than they are during winter. That means we have more sunlight each day. The sun causes the air to get warmer. Any snow or ice that is on the ground begins to melt, and the ground begins to thaw. That means it's not frozen anymore. When snow and ice melt, they turn to water. This water flows or goes into rivers and streams, making them very full. Rivers usually reach the highest level during spring. Sometimes the river becomes so high it floods. When a river floods, that means water comes over the side of the river and goes onto the land. Something else that causes rivers to flood is the rain during spring. There are many rainy days in the spring, especially in March and April. Sometimes after the rain, you can see a colorful rainbow in the sky. Raise your hand if you've ever seen a rainbow before. Yeah, me too. Those are super cool. There's a saying that tells us April showers bring May flowers. This means that the rain in April helps plants to grow and be healthy so that they produce beautiful flowers in May and throughout the summer. Besides being rainy, spring is also a very windy season. In fact, the windy beginning of spring is a perfect time to fly a kite. Some people say March comes in like a lion and goes out like a lamb. That means the beginning of March is very windy, but by the end of spring, all that wind is gone away. The weather in March starts out stormy and windy and then gets calm. The world outside changes during spring. Flowers are one of the most important signs of spring because they tell you what the plant world has come to life once again. Soon bees will be buzzing among the flowers and birds will be chirping in the leafy trees. The days will become longer and the weather will become warm and pleasant. My hometown of Washington, D.C. is famous for the cherry blossoms that bloom here each spring. We just talked about what blossoms are. They're the flowers on the trees. In April, the cherry trees throughout the city burst into bloom, and millions of bright pink and white flowers tell us that spring is here. Many other kinds of trees have pretty, colorful blossoms in spring too. Do you have lots of blossoms where you live? Yeah, we do. A crepe myrtle is a common tree to see in North Carolina that has lots of blossoms. Spring is an important time on farms. Do you remember something that old MacDonald told us that he needed to do in the spring on his farm? Look at this picture and it'll help you. What do a lot of farmers do in the spring? Ryan?
Plant seeds.
They plant their crops and their seeds. This tractor is plowing fields to plant his seeds. For the farmer, it's a time to get back in the fields. The farmer must plow his soil and prepare it for planting. He plows the field in order to bring up the nutrients or healthy parts in the soil. Then the farmer will go through his plow fields and plant his seeds in nice, neat rows. A couple of weeks later, the field will be full of little green seedlings or young baby plants. By summer, the seedlings will have grown into big green plants. Spring is also an important time for animals on the farm. Many animals give birth to new baby animals in the springtime. The barnyard and fields are full of baby animals. Baby horses, called foals, play in the fields. Lambs nuzzle close to their mother sheep, and ducklings line up and follow behind the mother duck to the pond. Spring is also a time to celebrate more holidays. Several holidays are celebrated during springtime. During the Christian holiday of Easter, some people decorate eggs and go on Easter egg hunts. During the Jewish holiday of Passover, special food is served to family and friends at the Passover Seder. The Hindu holiday of Holi is a festival of colors during which people celebrate the colors of springtime by dancing, singing, and sprinkling colored water on each other.
Miss Kate?
Mm-hmm.
How can the people get colors on their face?
It just told us they sprinkle a colored powder water on each other for the colors of springtime.
Can they wash it?
Yeah, they can wash off. Yes, Anya?
Even though my parents are from India, I'm not Indian, and also we don't celebrate stuff like that.
Oh, okay. Well,
And I
some
can't
people.
even speak the Indian way, Kannada.
Okay. Another important holiday in springtime is called Memorial Day. Memorial Day is celebrated on the last Monday in May. On this day, we honor the American men and women who have fought in different wars to protect the United States. Many people celebrate Memorial Day with parades, picnics, barbecues, and family gatherings. I hope you enjoyed hearing about spring. Thanks for answering all my questions. And now let's talk about what spring is like where you live. Yes.
Miss Kids? What the boys and girls do?
What do boys and girls do? What, sweetie?
The last page you read.
Oh, that's a statue. It's a famous statue, and it's a bunch of soldiers trying to crowd together to hold up the flag so it won't fall.
Why they are saving our town?
Uh-huh.
Why
Okay.
they have to hold it so this cannot fall?
In America, it's disrespectful for the flag to fall on the ground, so they're trying to hold it up.
But why they made it act like a statue?
Because it was a very famous picture. Okay, Carolyn, I gotta move on to other friends. Thank you, sweetie. Smriti.
I'm an Indian too, and I don't celebrate that. And
That
that's
holly?
The American. And that's the American flag.
Yeah, that is the American flag. The only thing that I talked about that was from an Indian culture is the holly, H-O-L-I, holly.
I'm not Indian too, and I don't celebrate that.
Okay. All right, guys. Let me ask you some questions about the story, and I want you to listen carefully. What is the main topic or main idea of Annie's letter today? What was her letter mainly about? Carolyn, mute your microphone. Russell, what was the letter mainly about?
It's mainly about spring.
It's about springtime. Wonderful. Which months does the season spring occur in? What months does spring occur? Estelle? I can go back to help you. Let me go back to the picture of the months. May,
April, and June.
and March. Yeah, March, April, and May are the spring months. Very good. Excellent. Okay. What are some characteristics of spring? Think about the weather and the different things you see in the spring. What's a characteristic of spring? Are we?
What did you say?
What's a characteristic of spring?
Like what happens in spring?
Yes.
Flowers grow.
Flowers grow in the spring. That is a characteristic of spring. Very good. Adeline, what's another characteristic of spring?
It's sunny and hot.
It's sunny and warm. Yes. It's not quite hot yet, but you're right. It is sunny. It's a much more sunny and warm because the days are longer. Landon, what's another characteristic of spring?
Lots of plants grow.
Lots of plants growing. What makes these plants grow, Anya? What happens in spring that helps these plants?
I have a question.
But can that question first? What happens?
Yeah, what is the question again?
What happens to help plants grow in the spring? What do we get lots
It
of?
must rain.
It rains and all the ice and snow melt, which gives a lot of water to plants as well. What was your question, Anya?
Why does it have to be called winter, spring, summer, fall?
Those are just the names that we've given each season.
But you picked the name.
I don't know, sweetie. They've been around for hundreds, maybe even thousands of years. Estelle, did you want to share a characteristic of spring? Mm-hmm.
I don't think anyone said you.
Said what?
Blooms.
Blooms, yes. And I love how you use the vocabulary. All right, what are some holidays that we may see in the spring? What are some holidays we may see in the spring or that people celebrate? Give me one holiday. Carolyn?
The holidays, the Easter.
Easter is a holiday that you might see people going on Easter egg hunts and decorating eggs in the spring. There's some more holidays. Does anyone remember? Nicole?
That's Rainbow Face one. What is it called again?
Holly.
Holly?
Mm-hmm. And there's the last one. It's a Jewish holiday called Passover, where they eat special food and gather with families. All right, friends. Thank you so much for joining me this afternoon.
Miss Case,
Yes.
there's also windy.
It is. You're exactly right.